Good morning, everybody. This is Pastor Darrell from the Quest in Galesburg, Illinois. I want to share a story with you from when I was a child. I was probably 8 years old, 9 maybe. My nephew and I, who was about the same age, we were raised together. We had a ranger tower in our backyard, and we were up there, and we were eating our prized possession. We had saved our money, went down to the store, Jack and Jill's store, and we bought a big bag of Ozark green onion potato chips. I don't even think you can get those things anymore, but those were our favorite treat. And so we'd gone up in the ranger tower to eat them, and lo and behold, a kid from down the street, I'll be honest, this was a kid nobody liked. I hate to say it that way, but nobody liked him. He was mean. Not only was he mean, his entire family. For some reason, his family was mean. And Ricky climbed up in the tower, saw what we were doing, and asked if he could have some. So we handed him the bag. He climbed down and took a handful of sand from underneath the ranger tower and threw it in the bag. Now you think that's crazy enough. He then sat down with us and began to eat those potato chips. My nephew and I looked at him, and he said, "You get used to it." Now, like I said, that has been a long, long time ago. 50 years ago. More than 50 years ago. And it stands out in my mind. I've thought about Ricky so many times over the years, and I've thought about how it fits with a parallel of the prodigal son. The prodigal son, if you remember the story Jesus told in Luke, I believe it's the 15th chapter, talked about the son who went out living a wild life and spent all of his money, found himself destitute, living among the pigs. You know, we don't ever stop to talk about this. He was eating there. He had been there for some time. We don't know how long, but he was there with the pigs, and he was eating with them. The thing is this. There's a lot of people who think they're living large, but they're living large among the pigs. Now, I know this could sound so offensive, and I truly do not mean it to be offensive, but there is a picture there of people in the world today. They think they've got it made. I'm thinking about all the stuff that has gone on this last week. If you've been following me on my Facebook, it's been the craziest thing. I made a post the other day, and that post has now been shared over 180,000 times. People have sent me hate mail. The comments on there have just been so vulgar. I've been deleting them as much as I can, but there was more than 6,000, 6,000 comments on there, so I'm not getting to them real rapidly. I just don't have that kind of time. But listening to them, so many of them were talking about what's wrong with it. We ought to celebrate it. They're talking about Cardi B's dance was celebrating womanhood and empowering women. Listen, if empowering women is trash, you're living large in the pigsty. If that's what the world is right now, people think they've got it all together. Look how celebrated she is. Look how much money she's making, but she's in the pigsty. The prodigal son, if you'll remember, came to his senses and said, "What am I doing here? I can go home and be a servant in my father's house and live better than this." You know, there's a lot of people, listen, you can have money, you can have fame, you can have recognition, you can have even pleasures. Listen, worldly pleasures are fun. I've had people argue with me over the years, "Oh, you shouldn't say that." I'm going to tell you what, I taught my children my lifestyle. If you know anything about my life when I was growing up, I trashed my life. But I taught my kids, I said, you know what, I had a lot of fun. I truly had a lot of fun. But for every day of fun, there was a week of hell. But nobody ever talks about the week of hell. They only talk about the fun. And I wanted them to know, yeah, you can go out with your friends and you can drink and you can party and you can do all these things and have fun. But what about the rest of the time? What about the hangovers? What about the wrecked cars? What about the lost jobs? What about the health problems? You know, to this day, I'm 62 years old and I'm having health problems today that are brought on because of what I did back in the 70s. Living in the pigsty does that to you. I want to encourage you today. You may think you're living large, but are you? Are you living with peace? You know, the reason there's 6,000 comments on there arguing this is because people are trying to excuse away their problems and their behavior. Just like Ricky. Ricky would rather have potato chips by himself filled with dirt and sand than to share them. The Bible says that in the last days, men will be lovers of their own selves. That's where we're at, folks. That's why people don't care if their behavior is lewd and crude. They don't care. As long as they're having fun, it doesn't matter what you think. If you don't like it, just go away. And that's what they're trying to do. That's what the whole cancel culture is all about. You know, we're going to do it my way. We're going to enjoy this. And if you get in the way, it truly is not because of that book or that movie or that song, whatever it is. It's because you get in the way of their living large in the pigsty. I would rather be a doorkeeper in the house of the Lord than to live large in the pigsty. Think about that today. God bless you. Come back and see me again here at The Quest.